to my channel, Budget for Success. Woo! Today is Smart Money Tuesday. Woo, woo, Smart Money Tuesday. All right, so for those of you who are new to my channel, hi, my name is Onyx, and my channel is Budget for Success, and we have a wonderful series going on called Smart Money Tuesday. I now have a playlist available for those of you that want to get caught up on all the Smart Money Tuesday videos. Please go to my channel and look for the playlist and just click play. All right, so today's topic is exciting. I am just over the moon thrilled to share with you my journey to 100K. Yes, I set a goal many, many, many years ago when I only had like $1,500 in my savings account. And I said, wouldn't it be cool to have 100K in my savings account? And I just set off on this journey to build savings to $100,000. And I had no idea how I was going to get there. But over the years, I've worked for government agencies. I've worked in finance. I have my master's degree in accounting, and I basically balanced budget of millions and millions of dollars. I also I also sat on the board and made decisions worth billions of dollars. And so I said, wait a minute, I'm making all these great decisions and I'm helping these cities flourish. I need to apply these principles to my own finances. And I found that it's very similar. And I started to grow my finances as well. And so I'm ready to share with you my journey to 100K. So if you want to jump on board, let's go. All right. So let me share my screen because you know I have a presentation. I always do. All right, here we go. Smart Money Tuesday, July 16th, and this is Budget for Success. And what are we talking about today? The journey to 100K. Y'all like that? I was rhyming. I'm excited because you don't understand how this was a dream of just literally a dream in my head. Like, I wonder what it would take to get to $100,000 in the savings account. So the journey begins. What was the first step that I did? Well, I set up a spreadsheet because I needed to see how I was going to get to my journey. And I had two savings accounts and I had a retirement account. And I was like, let's just put everything in one spreadsheet so I can see where I'm starting. And so I did. And that's my recommendation for you is to create a spreadsheet. If you're not good at spreadsheets, get a pad of paper and start writing down all the money that you have. If you have cash, because you have cash in envelopes, if you have retirement through your company, reach out to them, find out what is the balance? How much money do I have in there? Because that's your money. So you should reach out and find out, where do you stand? If you set up your own 401k or a Roth IRA, put that down. The idea is that you collapse all of your assets into one spreadsheet. Companies do this. Companies don't say, oh, well, hide that account over there because I don't want to know about that money, so I don't touch it. No, no. Companies want to see the whole big picture. So they have financials on top of financials. They pay people to create these type of reports. And so there's value in seeing all of your assets in one spreadsheet. So my husband and I, like I said, we started our journey with $1,500, and I did have some retirement funds because I had just started working in government and I was putting money aside, plus the government was putting money aside for me. So if I collapsed all that money together, it was like 5 grand. Not a whole lot. It wasn't like I was going to retire, but it was a start. So where do you start? You got to start somewhere. And one thing about the spreadsheet, if you update it every month and you see the amounts increase, you get to celebrate. If you see it decrease because you had to spend the money, you get a real honest look at, well, this is my position now. And I started out with this roller coaster going up and down, up and down. And then I was tired of it. I was like, no, I have got to figure this out, because just like you see this graph right here on the screen where the bars are going up, that's what I wanted my finances to do. I wanted them to increase each year. So the first step was addressing the retirement, because I realized that's where I had a lot of money already saved. So, hey, this is cool. Let's focus on this. And so I started out really moderate with $50 a paycheck. But then I realized when I did $50 a paycheck, it didn't come out of my net pay at $50. So I was like, oh, wow, this is like free money. This is tax deferred. This is awesome. So I didn't stop there. I increased that amount every time there was open enrollment. Now, the goal was to be able to, which I thought was impossible, but I found out it was possible, get to the IRS limit, the annual limit each year. And your job should help advise you on what's the maximum that you could take out. Now, if you don't have a job, that's okay. My husband, he's self-employed. He set up a SEP IRA. So you can go to your local bank and get that set up. Or if you have a financial advisor, you can work with them. But the idea is doing the maximum. If you're not doing the maximum and you're saving in other areas, I'm just here to tell you you're paying more taxes than you have to pay, because this is a tax deferred opportunity. So there's savings in itself, and you really should max out what you're allowed to put aside. And I also learned, and when you work for government agencies as well, they have different plans. So some government agencies have a 457 plan, but you can also set up a Roth IRA. This is true also for people who are working in the private industry. You're able to set up a Roth IRA that has other limits. Now, the Roth IRA is not tax deferred. However, what's really nice is when you reach a certain age, talk to your financial advisor, because I told you at the top of the screen, I am a coach, but I am not a financial advisor. So when you reach a certain age, you get to receive those funds and not pay any taxes on those funds. So it's really, 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 really nice, because once you're older and now you have to live off of this money, you don't want to have to pay taxes on it as well. So pay taxes on it when you're young and you're making money and you have more money to work with. So you can do both, right? But you want to seek a financial advisor to figure out what those limits are. And I realized that some of you would go, IRS limit? I don't know. I'm just saying, trust me, set up a plan so you get to that limit. And it could take several years. It could take several pay increases. It could take you saying, I need to get a higher paying job so that I could have more money come out of my check, which is what I did. I'm not going to lie to you. As I got promoted in my career, each time I got promoted, I started increasing, because I was going to get more pay anyway. I started increasing my contribution. Listen, some accounts are just regular old savings accounts. I had one linked to our checking account. And the reason I did that was because it was established as our reserve fund. So I'm not going to lie, it was a bit of a revolving door, but I set up a weekly transfer, just like I go to Starbucks every week and spend money at Starbucks every week. I said, well, wait a minute, I can spend money on myself every week. So let's start doing that. So I set up an automatic transfer so the money would come out of our checking account and go into what I called a reserve fund. Okay. Now, that savings account did not pay a lot because there were no required limits. You didn't have to have 5,000 saved. You didn't have to have 10,000 saved. You just had to put money in it and you would earn some interest. And it really was there for me to get the concept of savings, right? It was also there in the event that something came up, I did not have to use my credit card anymore. Because what was the point of saving 100K, but then, driving up my debt? That was not the goal that I had at hand. So I did a savings account that was linked to the checking so that I could have access to it if needed. But then my husband and I opened up a high yield savings account where you're going to get more interest. But many times those accounts say, well, you got to have a minimum balance of 10,000 or you have a minimum balance of 5,000, whatever the limits are. But I did it in a separate bank, even not a separate bank account, a separate bank. Okay. Because I didn't want it to be so easily accessed. Yes, we did receive debit cards and we put our debit cards in the safe so that we would not take money out of the savings account. Locked up the cards. One day they expired. We got new cards in the mail. I was like, oh, wow, new cards. I didn't even know because those cards were locked up. And I understood my financial blueprint. And the thing was, the more money that I had saved in that reserve fund that was linked to my checking, the more money I had saved, the more emergencies, the more things come up that I needed to spend the money to justify spending the money. And so I realized in my financial blueprint, I needed to like hide the money from myself. It is what it is, right? Now, if your blueprint is one where you get motivated when you see those numbers grow, put all your money in one account. If you want to take advantage of the interest rate that's in a particular account and you have to have a certain balance, put all the money in that account by all means, if that works for you. But for me, it was like a vicious cycle where the money was going in and coming out, money going in and coming out. So I said, okay, I'm going to let that money keep going in and going out, but I'm going to set up a separate high yield savings account where I don't want to mess with the money. In fact, I'm going to have the money deposited there from my paycheck. So it's like I don't even see it into my main checking account because that money goes straight to savings on payday. And I literally treated it just like it was a recurring bill. So if I had to pay my car payment every month or I had to pay insurance, whatever bill I had to pay every month, it was like me paying that into the high yield savings account. It was amazing because that account started to grow very quickly because I was not taking money out of it. If I needed money, I had that savings account that was linked to my checking account. And I tried to always keep a couple of $1,000s in there so I didn't mess with it. So I had started like, 1,500. So it was like, okay, let's try to keep it around that number. If I use it, let me build it back up with this money that I'm putting into it every week. But then this other one that was treated like a bill, and that worked for me. Okay. And so it was factored into my budget. And I started with $250 a paycheck. It was a wing and a prayer. I had no idea if I was going to need that $250 or not. It was a year that we got a raise, and I was like, I'm just going to do it. And I'll see, I shouldn't miss it much because part of that $250 was the raise that I got. And so I just did it. And so every time I got another raise, which when you work for government, sometimes that's annual, whether you move up to a new step or you get a new job or they go into negotiations and negotiate a whole new raise. If you're in a company and they don't do raises, then your way of getting more money is to look for that next promotion or maybe possibly look for a new job. But either way, you're always looking because I had a mission. I needed to get to 100K. So I had a mission of acquiring wealth each year. And so I made decisions each year to help grow that amount. Okay. So at some point, right, I was like, I've got like 10 grand saved in this high yield savings account. Oh, hallelujah. But I know me. Okay. I know how I am. Once I start seeing large amounts in an account, something comes up as vacation, something that we need to use that money. I know how I am. So rather than fighting with my financial blueprint, I came up with a solution, which was to open an investment account with Robinhood. And I purchased stocks and crypto. And I use that platform because it allowed for you to purchase partial shares. And it also offered another feature, which was called stock lending. That just worked for me. I made money on the stocks that I had purchased. I just left them in Robinhood. And as you sit there and leave them and you will sign up for stock lending, they lend out your shares and you make money each month from that. Small bits of money, but it didn't matter. It was free money, and the money was just sitting there anyway. I bought stocks like Apple, Amazon, Microsoft, Berkshire Hathaway, S&P 500 is an ETF. And so I started researching. I really took advantage of the stock market crash in 2020. There were stocks that I just knew they were going to rebound. Even though COVID was a devastating event and the market just tanked, I just knew there were certain stocks that were going to bounce back. And so I bought even more shares of those stocks. And it did turn out to be very profitable for my husband and I. It was like getting shares at a discount. So after I got Robinhood going really well, I said, I really probably need someone to start managing some of this money because I don't know what I'm doing. So I set up an E-Trade account because you could get professional advice, etc. So you could get a managed portfolio with E-Trade. And so I moved some money into E-Trade, and then I set up moving $2,000 a month from the high yield savings account into E-Trade. And so how did I do that? It was a mental thing. Like the money was already sitting in the high yield savings account. Remember, I told you it was around 10 grand. So I'm feeding it from my paycheck. And then I'm also taking that 2,000 out, but moving it over to E-Trade. So it was all psychological for me. Could I have taken the money and just directly deposited it into E-Trade? Yes, but I had established that there was a bill that existed in my mind, and I had to pay my high yield savings account out of my paycheck every month. I left it alone. I knew how to remove myself from that account. And so in order to fund E-Trade, I used that account. It worked for me. I'm sharing these tools and these tips because maybe something will click for you and it'll work for you. For some people, you go, that's too much money moving around from here to here to here to here. That's how my brain works. It doesn't work for everyone. But the idea is this: however you establish it, if you want to invest in stocks or you want to invest in ETFs, which are really ETFs. I'm going to come back to another video where I'll share with you what I know about various stocks, ETFs, stock lending, etc. But the idea is that if you're really going to let it grow, you just have to leave it and not take money out. Remember, we had a savings account linked to our checking account if we needed car maintenance or things that came up that we needed. So that's where we used that money. But the other money was allowed to just sit and grow because I had a mission, which was to get to 100K. So the other factor that really helped on this goal was establishing a budget, because that's how I was able to put money aside. And so here's some tips that I used in the budget to help create that. Number one, I established a budget. I had a budget every month. If you don't have a budget, then it's kind of hard to keep up with everything. So a budget was actually in a spreadsheet. It was whether you write it down or in a spreadsheet, but it helped me to see my financial situation every month. There was a time, I admit, a lot of my budget went to paying credit card payments, but I still kept putting money into savings, right? So at least $1,000 a month was going into savings. But I also realized I had other areas where I could kind of cash stuff some money. Number one, I overestimated on my bills. To be honest, we don't know what our utility bills are going to be until we actually get the invoice or the bill from the utility company. So I would budget electricity at like $250. So anything that came in under $250, instead of saying, oh, I got more money to spend, I said, okay, that excess money is going to savings. So once I actually got the bills and I put them into my budget, I had a surplus. That amount I pulled for savings. I did savings challenges with that money sometimes, or I just put that money into, like I had a 100 envelope challenge, whatever the case is. But I use the excess money for savings, not for spending because I had already budgeted my spending money. I had already budgeted my expenditures, like the car registration. I had already budgeted money that I needed to pay for bills. So if I've done that and I have excess, it goes to savings. And so my husband and I really came up with this plan of any extra money. I mean, we would get a check in the mail, it was a refund, or we got like a bonus, or my husband, he was self-employed and he would get extra money from a job that he worked. We took the proceeds from the sale of our first home and we saved it. We didn't save all of it. I'll be honest. We had to spend a good portion of it, but at least 20, 25 grand of it went to savings. And that's made up of the savings we still have today because we just did not spend it. Birthday money, or gift cards. Now, this is crazy. If somebody gives you a gift card, how do you save that? Well, if I have a budget for Starbucks, for example, of how much money I can spend on Starbucks, if somebody gives me a Starbucks gift card and I load that, then that cash that I would have spent on Starbucks goes to savings. I mean, it was that serious. Why? Because I had a mission and I had a goal. Any tax refunds went to savings. Purchases that if I took the money back, like I've already paid for it, right? So the money now that I get back, I didn't anticipate. Just get that. If you get it back in cash, throw it into your cash savings challenges if you cash stuff. If not, and you get cash back, you throw it into your savings account the next time you're at the bank. So, and don't get a side job and save 100% of that side job money. Get a side job just to build your savings, just to do it. And the nice thing about side jobs is they get to be 100% the thing you love to do. So if you like hair, go work at a hair salon. If you like beauty, go work in a beauty store. Like whatever interests you, do that for fun, generate income and save 100% of it because you already have your budget established for your regular expenditures. So this is really all extra money that can go towards your goal of saving 100K. All right, wealth coaching. So let's discover how I can come in and help you transform your money mindset, help you create a personalized budget plan that works for you, and help you achieve financial freedom. So I have started doing wealth coaching with some folks. We're having a great time, but the biggest thing is helping you discover what it is about your mindset and how you think about money and what tips or tricks can work for you. Not everybody's the same. Not everything that I shared in this presentation will connect with you because you may be in a different mindset. So I want to help work out for you what works for you, what clicks, what motivates you, what inspires you, what is really going to help you save to get to financial freedom. If you're interested in wealth coaching, I would definitely like to work with you. You have my email address on the screen. It's a free coaching session. We sit down for 30 minutes and we do a free coaching session. I'm just here to coach you to figure out what's going to really help you the most. So thank you for hanging out with me and this presentation. I had a blast sharing with you my journey. I had a blast putting this presentation together because you know what? It was just a dream. I cannot share with you. I was sitting on the floor. I clearly remember where I was. I was in an apartment. I had my daughter and I was living with my dad because I had just gotten out of a really bad relationship, marriage. Okay. My big daddy and my husband, he was not my first husband. Okay. And so I had just gotten out of a bad marriage and I was sitting on the floor and I was just like, I cannot keep living this way. I have got to figure this out because I don't want to be in this situation where my daughter and I are without. And I had this dream and I wrote it down, $100,000 in savings. And it took many, many years, more years than I can count. But it didn't matter because I I was on the path of a goal. And now that I have reached that goal and exceeded that goal, I never regretted sitting down making that goal. I never said, dang, it took so long. No, now that I'm here, I'm just happy that I'm here. I'm happy I'm in this situation that I'm in. I'm happy where I am. Did I make a lot of mistakes along the way? Yes, indeed, I did. Do I regret it? No, because I now know that I have the wealth. I know not to make those decisions anymore. And so it's a journey, it's a path. Yes, I can say to you, I've lived on both spectrums, living penny to penny, coin to coin, making things happen to where I am today. There's some people that may see me as I was then, and they don't realize where I am today. They don't realize I fly first class. They don't see that, and that's a choice, y'all. That's a choice. Not everybody has to fly first class, but that's a choice. But I know that through the journey that I have taken and through the experience that I have learned, navigating cities through some of the toughest financial periods. I navigated a city through COVID, no layoffs. No, we figured out where we could cut costs, cut over $25 million out of the budget so we didn't have to lay employees off. So I've done it on a large scale and I've done it on a small scale. I can relate to pretty much any situation that you're in. You could have millions. I can relate because I've budgeted millions of dollars. But you could have, $100 in your account and you're just trying to figure out how to make it next week. And I can relate to that as well. I'm just here to coach you, to help you to whatever level you're trying to reach. So that's all I have for today, guys. I appreciate you hanging out with me and joining me on this journey of the Smart Money Tuesday. Whoop, whoop, Smart Money Tuesday. So have a blessed and beautiful day. And if you like this video, please like, comment, and subscribe to Budget for Success. Bye for now.